while we're getting ready for that, let me get you to mark your calendar for April 25th. The Tornado Memorial Ceremony will be at 1 o'clock at the Monument at the Coliseum. Mark your calendar for that. This weekend there's a couple big Easter egg hunts in town. And Chamber's got its annual Administrative Professionals Day Luncheon coming up on April 22nd. So I've got tickets available for that. We need to sell those. That's less than 3 weeks from, well, it's 3 weeks from tomorrow. Okay. First of all, let me give Councilman up here an opportunity to make some comments if they would like to, since Brandon's on the end. Would you like to start, Brandon?
I would just like to thank everyone personally for coming out. I mean, this is a big thing, so we can get everyone in the community involved in our city. And I just want, like I said, take the time to thank y'all for doing it, because there's other things y'all can be doing right now. Like I said, I just want to say thanks.
I'd like to also thank everybody for coming out tonight. This is a special event, a special time to be here. One of the things that I find very important now, since we have somewhat solved the issue with the overwhelming debt at the sewer facility, it's close to having a situation where it can be break even, if not a revenue maker. That's a wonderful project. Now we need to focus on something that every citizen of Rainsville uses, and that's our municipal roads. We've had 2 severe winters in a row, and our roads are in poor shape. I mean, very, very poor shape right now. Probably the worst shape that they've been in the past 10 years. We have some roads that have crumbled to the point to where the base of that road is in jeopardy. We're going to have to figure out somehow to create the revenue to fix that problem. This year, we budgeted, and this is something that's all of our faults right here. We bear 100% of the blame for this. We budgeted $50,000 for road resurfacing. That is a drop in the bucket of what we need. We need to get back to what was the prior councils, well before our times, had a policy of paving 5 miles every year. And by the time that you finish paving all the roads in Rainsville, the ones that you started off with, it was time for them to resurface. We now have more mileage of roads in Rainsville from that point in time. So we need to be looking on how can we do something like pave 6 miles a year. And we're going to have to get a jump start on it. And it's going to be a lot more expensive than $50,000. So we're going to have to make some hard choices. Some of them y'all not going to like. Some of them y'all going to be upset with us. But there are going to be some hard choices that are going to have to be made so we can have the roads back up to par where they're supposed to be. And the roads are really what people judge the community on. That's, if you go into a community that has really nice roads, that's the first thing people see. So we have that coming up. We've done a lot of good things. There's going to be some belt tightening. There's going to be some cuts in certain budgets probably in the near future, and some of them are going to be upset. And, well, that's that.
Thank you, Councilman Graham. Chief Ridgway, have you got any comments you'd like to share? Chief.
Appreciate everybody coming out tonight.
Chief Sanders, you make some comment?
Appreciate y'all, thank you.
How about you, Ms. Lanier?
I'm not elected, but I do serve, and I love the citizens of Rainsville. Love it when you come in City Hall, call and ask the phone number for the ambulance 10 or 15 times a day. Anyway, I do love the city of Rainsville.
Okay. I didn't have very many questions turned in ahead of time. I have a few turned in advance for the question and answer session. I'd like to start off to see if we have some questions from the public, and I can come to you with my wireless mic. You want to stand up?
Yes, this is for Dick Jones, our mayor. As a citizen, Rainsville, and I'm out here talking to all the other citizens, and we're all as frustrated as we can be, and we don't know how to make a change or how to get involved or have our feelings and thoughts put before the council without it being a personal issue. And I would just like to hear your advice to us as citizens, because right now all we're saying is we hope the city can hold on another year till we can vote them out. So what would be your answers for us as citizens to get these people to listen to what we feel is the right thing to do?
Thank you.
So there's different ways to petition local government. Some people go the route of getting on the agenda for the council meeting, and that's certainly an appropriate way to address some issues. Yeah, I'm in City Hall on Wednesdays, every Wednesday, unless I'm at the beach or something. I'll be happy to take questions there and take issues, and if I can help, I certainly will. If it's something that's got to be addressed by the council, then we certainly go down that road there. As far as petitioning I'm open to thought. Now, council members, the clerk can get you their phone number to give them a call if you've got things you want to address with them individually or a few at a time or something. And getting them to see it your way, that's just dealing with folks. But I don't think anybody on our city council, and me included, are opposed to getting phone calls about issues. That's what we're here for.
Have a follow-up? Okay. Councilman Freeman or Graham, would y'all like to comment on that question?
I can give you my phone number, and you can call me at any time.
Very good.
Anything I can do.
I would say, you don't have to be on the agenda to come to a meeting. And there's ample opportunity to talk to all participants in the meeting before and afterwards. So if there's something of grave concern or something that's on your mind, I ask you to come to the meeting and talk to us before or after.
Okay, another question? Mr. Charles Lanier.
My name is Charles Lanier. A lot of you know me as Mr. Dick. And that's great. The question I have is how dedicated are our council members to the well-being of our city? Now, Debbie and I moved back a few years ago, and I felt just like I was coming home. I've been here 30 years before. And when I look at activities that the city has or are involved in, it's like the ACE program. When I start counting council members, there's always a big void there. Now, these people volunteer to serve the city of Rainsville in this capacity. And if they don't have the time to do it, then what are they doing here? My question is, we've got 2 councilmen here today. Where are the rest of them? Is it more important to be at a tennis tournament? Or what is more important? What is their priorities? If they can't make the city of Rainsville a top priority, then we need some serious changes.
Anyone else from the crowd before I move on to the questions that were turned in advance? Anyone? Okay. If you think of anything, just let me know. I've got 3 questions. I got a real easy one, so everybody can hear it. I believe Brandon would know it the best. What's the date on the farmers market?
The first Thursday in June.
First Thursday in
I think
June.
it's the 4th, but I wouldn't swear to that.
Okay,
I don't, but I just know it's the first Thursday.
all right. Okay, I've got a question that was turned in earlier this week. Let's see. It's actually a three-part question. And it says, in reference to last Thursday's planned interview for city clerk, will all city job interviews be at a public forum? And has this always been the procedure for city jobs, or is this something new? If it is, why?
I'll be happy to answer that. No, it's not a normal practice that the city has followed before. If you got the handout from the door, you'll see the job posting resolution. Now, the original intent of that was for regular jobs. Now, normal interviews for jobs with the city are done in a fashion. Sometimes I'm involved, sometimes I'm not. Normally, the department heads are handling that, and those are done privately. The city clerk's job, the city treasurer's job, the police chief's job, and the fire chief's job are not regular employees of the city. They are appointed officers, meaning the city council appoints those individuals to run that area, that sector or area of the city business. They're very important jobs. Part of the requirement, I tend to be someone that wants to see a lot of transparency and things out in the open. These are people that are running, like I said, core departments. They're handling public safety, the general business of the city, or the money, which is a very important part. The interviews are done in a public fashion because the council is the appointing authority, and when there's a quorum present of the council, the press has to be notified, the public has to be notified, and it has to be done in an open fashion.
Okay. My second question was also turned in tonight as someone came into the building. It is, I believe, each of you could address and answer. I guess Chief Centers, let him go first on this one. What is our police department doing to slow down traffic?
Do I have to answer that? We have hot spots in the city. Of course, you all know that. We do have a bulletin board at the police department, and we have areas that people will call in and they'll sit there or come by. Let's just take Rainbow. And you all know at times that it's fast up to there. Well, they'll come in and and the manpower, of course, like we all, we'll put it on the board. Now, I'm not supposed to be telling all of this now, but we'll do it tonight. But we'll put it on the board and we'll get out there and we'll work that area pretty hard. And to be seen, slow them down. That might be Rainbow, which we might try to keep an eye on. And I even wrote a ticket yesterday, Mayor. I think you'd be proud. That's what we're doing. We've got some hot spots in the city. Top of the mountain, all the way down, y'all know what that's like, and then right here at the crossing, of course, the trucks, and I don't want to just pick on the trucks, but they come to the red light. We're pulling them over, slowing them down, warning tickets. Of course, everything's done with the state now. Everything goes in by computer, and and everything's done by computer now. So that's so you come to me, call me, if you got a hot spot, or I call it hot spot, area in your a place where they're just running by the house. Church Street, we'll get that street calling in pretty good. We'll set up, we work it, and that's about all you can do. I mean, just move around the town and then just patrol the streets.
Anyone else like to add anything?
One of the things that we've focused on the council so far is making sure that the police department is fully staffed. was 2 meetings ago that I'd asked for us to post a job for the vacant position. It's one of our officers that retired, and we have one called up on active duty. It passed the next meeting. It didn't pass, it didn't get posted. The next meeting, the council voted to post that position. So one of the things that we can do to help slow down the speeders is have a fully staffed police department.
Got anything to add? Okay. Well, that is all the questions I had turned into me. If there's no more, is there any more?
Tim, I would, we've got a preliminary report that's come in that pertains to the new ISO rating that Rainsville's going to have. The grading system is changed some, and I'm not educated enough to really talk about it or understand it, but I did want Chief Ridgway to have an opportunity to explain some of that and tell the folks what the new rating means and some of the things that are preventing Rainsville from even having a better rating.
We did receive a two-part rating. The first rating we've already received. The second rating we're still waiting on. They came January 19th and told us to expect something within 6 months. So we're still waiting to hear from that. Rainsville did have a two-part rating here, which is something that nobody I've talked to in the fire service business has ever heard of, in that you had a separate classification for inside the city and outside the city. Inside the city, they were a flat class 6, and outside the city was a separate rating, and that was a 5/9. Now what that means is anytime that there's a slash in there is anything within 5 miles of the fire station and 1,000 feet of a fire hydrant have the first number. Anything within 5 miles and not within 1,000 feet have the second number. Now that was back in 2008 when that rating took place. ISO has completely revamped what they call the fire suppression rating schedule. And that's the book that they grade fire departments by. Now ISO is a private company, and they come in and do these evaluations and then sell their information to insurance companies so that they can base homeowner and commercial rates off of. Not every insurance company participates and buys ISO's information. Some insurance companies have their own system, and it not only looks at fire losses, but natural disasters, crime, and other things such as that. But there are still a few companies that recognize ISO's rating. So when we got this one back in January, as I said, they no longer offer the two-part rating. So the entire area, whether it's in the city limits or not, is now under one heading. Now, what counted against us would be places that have been annexed by the city in the past that did not have a water system, did not have adequate piping to put fire hydrants on. The city of Rainsville itself is 85% hydrated, which is good. When Mayor Chandler was here, we put a system into place whereby the city was putting in 5 fire hydrants every year. And that was done because I saw into the future a little bit that that's going to be important to us. That has since been taken out of the budget, so we're no longer able to do that for you. But at any rate, the new rating come back in, and it's now what's called a 5/5X. Used to the /9 just meant if you didn't have public water, it didn't matter what the fire department was able to do, you were going to be a 9 because they didn't give the fire department any credit because there was no public water. Under the new schedule, that has changed. So now they give credit to the fire department for their provided services, and that they provide a good service even though there is no public water. So that should denote going from 6 to 5, somewhat of a decrease in your premium. I know Alpha, for example, I talked with the president of the company 3 weeks ago, And he didn't even know what the 5X, he'd never heard of that. My question to him was, the state of Alabama has adopted this. You know, if y'all don't know about it, who does? I then turned around and called ISO, and ISO, you know, said, hey, if there's a particular company that's failing to recognize a 5X and they're still saying it's a 9, that's that company's problem, it's not ours. I know there's been some misinformation distributed saying that we were a 5.9, and that is not the case. It is a 5.5X.
Can I interject something? In the report, it said the old classification.
Yeah.
They had a list there, and it said 5.9. It said the new classification, now it's a 5.5X.
Yeah. And like I said, what they're doing is giving credit to the fire department, even though there is no public water. Now they are giving credit to the fire department. So they're saying, hey, we recognize you have capable fire suppression, you just lack public water, so we're going to give you extra credit. That denoted the new change.
But it was just a change in the name. They went from a 9 to a 5X. Is there?
There again, Councilman, you don't know your information. What I'm telling you is correct. But nonetheless, the new rating that we're waiting to come out should be out pretty soon. And we're hoping that that's going to drop even further. The big hindrance to us this last time was the water system. And the situation is we don't ever know what hydrants ISO we're going to use to go out and do a flow test with. And what happened this time is they used our information, but our numbers were off substantially from what they were the previous year. And so when he went and took all this information in and they formulated the report, I saw what hydrants they used and that sort of thing. So I immediately went to the water board to talk to Mr. A.T. about what the situation was. And we very quickly decided that probably what happened was when we flowed hydrants the last time, which is the information they used, the tanks were very low at both section and duct, which in turn resulted in a lower flow for the city. So I relayed this information to our ISO reviewer, and he said, hey, why don't we find out when the tanks are full, y'all go back and recheck them, and we'll take all that information in and reevaluate. Yes, sir. So we did that, a substantially higher flow, which changed what ISO calls the divergence factor on their report. And basically what that means is if there's, say the fire department gets a lot of points, the water system not so much, the divergence factor equals those two out because one can't be strong without the other. So basically the information I have is that dropped us again from that situation alone. So we feel real confident that we're going to be a lower class and a flat class so that it will make no determination whether you have a fire hydrant within 1,000 feet or not.
If it does stay a split class, are we going to be able to utilize such devices such as dry hydrants in the places that are not covered by a fire hydrant that's
Yes.
fed by a 6-inch water line?
You can use a dry hydrant. The situation with that is it has to be within 1,000 feet of a protected property. And as most of you know, farm ponds are generally by somebody's house and it affects one property. And in addition to that, we have to have a 50-year drought study done by the NRCS. We have to provide an all-weather road into the dry hydrant. And also it takes more manpower to run a dry hydrant because we have to physically pull water out of that. And since we don't have that manpower, that would not necessarily help us in all occasions.
If it does say a split ISO rating, would it help the homeowners in that area?
In the effect, yeah, if you have a farm pond within 1,000 feet of your house and you can get a 50-year drought study done, pay for the road to be put in, pay for all the fixtures to put the dry hydrant in, then yes, sir, it would.
Hey, Thomas, what is the cost of the fire hydrant job?
$1,750.
So we took 5 fire hydrants out of the budget, which is how much money? It's not much money.
And that was the one much.
That's how we do it.
Yes, ma'am.
The ACE program that the city is striving to get, I don't know if we've got it yet or not, is the fire department not in that in the long term to help y'all's rating and to bring y'all up to par as a fire department?
Yeah, well, yes, ma'am, we were involved in that part. And I will tell you, as far as the fire department's concerned, The fire department this time received 25.75 points out of 50. Last time they were here, the fire department only received 19.75 points out of 50. So that's a substantial increase.
So with the ACE program coming in, you will get much more money if we're graded.
Well, part of what the ACE would be more planning, on the planning side, to help get grants, yes. The Chief Ridgway's, he's been a big part of the grants that the fire department's received since 2011. Where ACE would come into play is just the planning portion. You know, we talk about planning infrastructure, sewers, part of that, but there's also planning involved with your city with public safety. And so the fire department, the police department, that would all play into part of the comprehensive plan, which is what the city was just funded for. Which I would add is about a $40,000 grant that the state picks up there. So it does have some serious value to it.
Absolutely. I might add the grant we put in for a truck this year. ISO has told us we need 3 engine companies in addition to that ladder service company. So if we get that grant, buy that truck, then that will be a few more points given to us. They took points away from our ladder company to make it an engine ladder, they call it. So if we got those points back, that would be a few. If we added more staff, ISO counts paid firemen 1 for 1. If it's an off-duty fireman or a volunteer fireman, we have to assemble 3 of those at a fire to get credit for 1, according to ISO. So that would be a very quick point builder for us in ISO in the future. But trust, anything the fire department does is done for the citizens of Rainsville and the people that work, live, and travel through here on a daily basis. That's our main concern.
Thank you, Chief Thomas Ridgway. For those of you listening on the radio, well, I believe that will do it for the night, unless we have anything else. I believe we have another question from down here. Dr. Marvin L. Barron, sir.
You know, I can't help but remember when Larry Bolden was mayor and we needed a sewer system here. I won't ever forget this. I happened to be chairman of the sewer board. And people were complaining on every corner and every place you go about their yards being dug up in front of their businesses. And you name it. They just didn't like that. But my question to you is, where would we be without a sewer system? You have to take the heat. It's just part of being in a leadership role. Now, I'll tell you another place where we get some criticism. I've had more than one person in recent days, weeks, complaining about the bridge over here going to be replaced. Oh, that's going to tear up everything. We're going to have that in the biggest mess. Well, I can't think of a project in town that needs doing any more than that. People over there need to be able to get back and forth over that bridge over there. I remember when we had an old wooden bridge there, not the one when we got there. That's fairly good now compared to what we used to have. But people back in that area need to be able to get to town, back and forth to town. And I'm thankful that for our leaders that stand up and take a little criticism once in a while, because that's a part of city government, part of leadership. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you, Dr. Barron. You're right. Mr. Bolden has took a lot of heat over the sewer project getting started and expansion. You were involved in that, and without the forethought and the vision of people back in that time, Rainsville would be looking to sewer sort of like Geraldine is now. Geraldine just got a big help from Congressman Adderholt to fund their sewer startup, and we'd be way behind in the times. Sure would. So thank you.
Anyone else?
Okay, well, thanks everybody for coming. We'll see you next time. Thanks.